There is so much information in the marketplace regarding what you should eat and how you should eat it. At times, it can be quite overwhelming. Well, today we get back to the basics. We're talking fruits and vegetables. How do you choose the freshest and highest quality? Welcome to Naturally Brown Woman. I'm Tammy Williams. Raphaela Blanco from Atlanta Harvest is going to guide us through the art of choosing produce that will elevate your meals and nourish your body. This is where fresh produce meets profound purpose, as we also talk about the state of Black farmers in the U.S. As we look at this beautiful watermelon,
yes.
What's the difference between seed and seedless?
Yeah, that's a good question. And so we want to stick with our foods as natural as possible, coming from how they were originally produced, by our ancestors. And so over time, agriculture has made changes, throughout the world and also just throughout the field as well. And in order to sometimes to get more yield or sometimes a better product that they think customers will like, there's hybridization and different type of scientific methods to take seeds out of fruit. But that is not how it was initially created. Mm-hmm. And so over time, for example, with watermelons, they were hybridized, or they were grown in a way that they wanted to produce more varieties of the seedless watermelon. And then they would crossbreed plants to produce more seedless watermelon. And then over time, that kind of became the standard. And now we're going back to getting food and fruits in their original form containing seeds, rather than these methods that have been done over time to create different varieties of fruits and vegetables we see today.
Okay, so you see a trend going back to the seeds. Is it because of the demand? People are wanting it?
A lot of people are becoming more educated in nutrition, and they're very interested in getting fruits and vegetables, specifically fruits that have the seed in them. So we get calls all the time like, hey, do you have seeded grapes? I can't find seeded grapes anywhere. Like, when was the last time you saw seeded grapes in the grocery store? It's very hard to come by. And, we carry those seeded varieties of fruits at our market.
Yeah. And just speaking of your market, Atlanta Harvest, I mean, of course, I was there and you had like this truckload of watermelons. It was so many, and people were just going crazy, just grabbing them. Now, is seedless, is it safe?
I would say it's safe for consumption, but it's not ideal.
Okay.
And I think, especially now, we're seeing a lot of changes in our society that unfortunately has brought us to a place as, our people are noticing that people are suffering from more diet-related diseases. And a lot of that has to do, unfortunately, with the food we're consuming. So we want to consume food in the most natural and closest state to the earth as possible. A lot of these modifications that we do to fruits and vegetables, it might yield maybe a better crop, or it might yield a better looking fruit, but is it better for our bodies?
Organic versus non-organic.
So that's a good debate. And so there's even within organic, when it comes to food, there's even a divide with that as well. And so, like, for example, there's certified organic, and certified organic is something regulated through the government. And there's a list of rules that you have to follow. So for example, people like to use what's called organic methods. Like, they'll use their own compost. They'll make soil using their own vegetables and fruit scraps, and they'll put that in their soil. And that's considered an organic method because they're not using a synthetic product in their soil. But with certified organic, you would have to use a certified compost through the certifying body, meaning that you would not be able to make your own compost and use it in your soil and call yourself certified organic, because the compost has to be certified. So it's best for people to support farmers who use whether they be certified organic or even just use organic methods.
Okay.
Versus conventional, they can use different herbicides, pesticides. There's no rule in what they can use in when they are growing fruits and vegetables.
Okay.
Whether it be certified organic or organically grown, naturally grown, both options are great.
If you get food that's non-organic, what should you do? Like, we're looking at these berries here.
Yeah.
You can pull these berries a little closer to us, and which look very
Beautiful.
delicious.
Yes.
You know, when you get like berries, and how should you clean and prepare your food?
Yeah, so I like to fill a basin. You can just use your kitchen sink. You just fill it up with water. You can add a cupful of salt or baking soda, whatever you have handy, and also a cupful of vinegar. And that just helps to kill any of the insects. It also helps to just get rid of any of, like, maybe any residues, any pesticide residues on the fruits or vegetables. And it also helps to keep them more fresh too, especially the berries. And so you fill up the basin, add a cupful of vinegar, baking soda or salt, and you add your fruits in or your vegetables. Greens are very good for that as well.
Okay.
Just let them soak for about 5 to 10 minutes, rinse them off with water, and put them in the fridge just to keep cool and to preserve their shelf life.
Yeah. Should we store all of our fruits and vegetables in the refrigerator?
Yeah, it really depends on the fruits and vegetables. So, like, for example, your watermelon can stay out until you cut it, because once you cut it, the inside of the fruit is exposed to air, and that can cause it to decompose or rotten quicker. So once it's cut, it's best to store it in the fridge just to help to decrease, they like with the whole temperature and time, like bacteria likes to grow at a higher temperature. So you put it in the fridge, it stays nice and fresh in the fridge for a longer period of time. Same with our berries. We want to put them in the fridge so they stay fresh for a long period of time. Greens do very well in the fridge. Things we can leave out, like garlic, onions, potatoes, and then some fruits that like to that are good staying out so they can help ripen and just to develop their flavor, like bananas. So bananas are good to be left out so they can just ripen really well.
You know what? That's. I'm glad you said the word bananas, because we have some bananas on set.
Perfect.
I'm going to walk over here, jump out of this chair here, and grab these bananas here. And they are turning, starting to turn a little brown there.
Yeah.
So the question is, in choosing your bananas, some like them half green. What does this say here with the brownness on the bananas here?
Okay.
So
this beautiful speckled brown on the bananas it's mean that some of the starch in the banana is turning into more sugar. So it's more sweeter. Yeah. So if you like your bananas a little bit on the sweeter side, this would be like the perfect time to eat them. This is like nice and ripe. Sometimes people want it, like they like green bananas, and green bananas are actually still edible. In other parts of the world, they cook them, they boil them, and they have more starch in them. So if anyone's watching their blood sugar, green bananas are great to eat.
Let's look at the watermelon over here, which is one of my favorite fruits in the whole wide world. Let's pull that over here. Let's see here. I want to know how to choose the best watermelon. Some people are knocking on it, you know, and listening. What are they listening for? How do you choose the right one?
Yeah, so starting with the sound, you want to hear a nice, like, audible, like, you hear that, like, open sound when you knock on it?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little hollow?
Yeah, like a nice hollow sound. So that lets us know that it's juicy. It's nice and juicy. You want to look also for this nice yellow spot here, and this is called a field spot. So this lets us know that it has ripened well on the vine, and that it was let to stay on the vine until it developed its flavors and its nutrition.
So the more the yellow or having that nice spot means it's been sitting in the patch, and the sun is just kind of
so
cooking it, so to speak.
Exactly. Just laying here on the here on the vine, and it's getting nice and big, and this is letting us know, okay, this is ready to be picked. It's ripe. It's getting nice and sweet and juicy.
Okay.
So we want it to be like slightly yellow, just like this. Not too yellow where it may be overripe, but just nice, like a nice yellowing that shows us it's been ripened well on the vine.
Okay.
And then the last thing is that the area where the watermelon attaches to the vine, as you can see here, the stem, we want the stem to turn brown.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we don't want the stem to be green. That
brown stem.
we
here.
want a nice brown stem.
Okay, I'm going to show that to these guys here, right here. Nice brown stem. Okay. And what is the best way? Well, of course, we know we have our cutting board and our knife. The best way to cut, is there a certain way you should cut a watermelon?
Oh, I think it depends on preference.
Nothing
I know.
special. I'm going to give this to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
And there you go.
Thank
You
you.
can handle that knife very well.
Yeah.
Um,
I know some people like to just cut it right down the middle and they'll just start scooping out the inside with like a ice cream scoop and then you get the nice little watermelon balls. That's always very beautiful. And whenever you have guests over and you want to do some hors d'oeuvres, another, sometimes just cut it in half and then start cutting in quarters and you get the nice triangle shapes too.
Yeah. So we're going to see what this looks like.
Yeah, let's cut into this nice.
Do you need to stand up?
Yes.
We got to stand up for this one.
Get a little morning workout in.
That seems pretty easy to cut there.
There we go. Yeah, it's nice and ripe. Look at that.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
Look at that. Lots of seeds.
Yes.
And that looks well ripe.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? When we're talking about the seedless watermelon, you don't see these dark seeds in them. It's more like the white seeds.
Actually, what happens is that watermelon, when we put watermelon in the ground, like just as nature intended, I'll say every 50 to 60 watermelons actually come up seedless, just naturally. So every 50 to 60 watermelons come up seedless. And so you'll see these little white seeds because, it was supposed to have seeds. And then the white seeds are just basically like, kind of like, it's like a seed slip. And then over time, what some of these scientists and hybrid farmers do is that they take that one seedless watermelon that came up and, if they plant like 1,000 watermelons, they'll have a couple of them and they'll take those two plants and they'll have those two plants come together to create like more varieties of seedless watermelons. And then it just becomes like a cycle. And then over time you get like a whole field of seedless watermelons, but they initially came from a seeded watermelon.
Okay. Always learning. Always learning. But that looks delicious.
It does, yes.
So there's the collard greens over here, the kale that you have. Anything when we're picking out our leafy greens that we should be mindful of? Yes.
So with leafy greens, we want them to be a nice vibrant green color. We want to look for any, if there's any yellowing, any like spots. Sometimes you might see like a dark brown or a black spot that shows that there may be a little bit of like disease on the leaf.
Okay.
So we don't want that. We want a nice green, a vibrant green. We also want it to have like texture to it. We don't want it to be wilted.
I suppose that's the same for
the collards. Yes,
here.
yes.
Okay.
So same thing. Nice. We want a nice bright green, no yellowing, no dark spots, no like anything that shows like there may be like something like a fungus or any disease going on with the plant.
Okay.
So this is like a nice, beautiful baby collard leaf.
Yeah.
Nice and tender too. If anyone likes to cook collards, but they're a little frustrated about how long it takes to cook, when you get them straight from the farm and you get them when they're a little more younger, this is great to cook them.
Yeah. And it's nothing like fresh greens from a farm.
Yeah.
The taste is night and day. I mean, it's night and day. Same with fresh strawberries when you get them from a farm. I felt as though I'd been robbed all these years. I took a bite, just a fresh, it's like, oh my gosh.
It's like
it's a different taste altogether. It's so rich, Yeah, I felt robbed.
Yeah.
So I felt.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mushrooms here.
Yes.
Tell us about mushrooms. Let's see here. I'm just kind of slide it. watermelon to the side here. Mushrooms.
Yes. And so mushrooms have been all the rage lately. These are really, really good for plant-based meals. Anyone who's trying to do like meatless Mondays to try to get into eating more plant-based, mushrooms are great because they have a good meaty texture. So anyone's kind of missing meat, they're really great for that. And so here we have the lion's mane mushroom. And this one here, they are actually very good for brain health, like function, cognitive function. Lion's mane mushroom, when pan fried, and then you use the top of your pot cover, and you just kind of squeeze it down after you seasoned it. It turns into this really great vegan steak. And then you can cut it up. You can add it to sandwiches. You can add it to salads, or just as like your vegan side dish to a meal. But yeah, lion's mane mushroom can turn into a really nice vegan steak. And then we got the king trumpet mushroom. This nice thick stalk here is really great when you cut it just down here on the stem in rounds. It's really great for a vegan scallop. If anyone's missing seafood when they go vegan or vegetarian, it's a really great replacement.
When you go into a store and you see that a fruit, vegetable is coming from another country, what are some of the things that we need to consider if we're going to purchase from another country? Yeah.
So just how we talked about with the watermelons, how you want to look for the speel spot because it shows that it's been ripened on the vine, and we want to look at the stem, make sure it's been ripened on the vine well. A lot of times when food is picked from other parts of the world and it has to travel all the way to the States, it's on a plane or it's on trucks or ships for weeks. We're talking about 1 to 2 weeks. And when that happens, they have to pick the fruit unripe because it's going to be taking all this time on these transportation methods to get to us. And when a fruit or vegetable is picked unripe, it hasn't been able to fully develop its nutrition. And so it will have less nutrition in it. And then sometimes when it finally does arrive to the grocery store, it doesn't look that great. So they have to artificially ripen it, add chemicals to the fruits and vegetables to make them have that bright, ripe appearance, and then put them on the shelf for us to buy and consume.
Okay. Okay. So the healthiest option, buy local.
Yes.
As close as you can.
As close as you can. Yeah. In season.
In season. Yeah. And that's another thing we talk about, fruits and vegetables in season, out of season. In fact, if you go to naturallybrownwoman.com, we have a chart there for you that shows when the fruits and vegetables are in season. And there's nothing like fresh strawberries when they're in season. Yeah. When they're in, it's just like a whole nother taste when they're in season. Let me ask you a couple of true and false questions about fruit and vegetables.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
We're just going to dispel some myths and everything. True or false, potatoes with sprouts and green spots are safe to eat as long as they are peeled. When those little flowers start to grow out of your potatoes when they've been in storage for a while, they're safe.
True. Well, I'll say true, and then but do peel off the green spots for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So they can be safe to eat.
They can be safe to eat. Just the green spot is not safe to eat, but the sprouts, they're safe.
They're safe. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Ripe tomatoes should feel firm and have no smell.
Ripe tomatoes should be firm but have smell. So false.
Okay. They should have smell.
Yeah.
Local produce is often fresher and has a smaller environmental footprint compared to imported produce.
True.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing, decreasing our carbon footprints. We want to avoid just adding all those extra greenhouse gases to our environment. They're saying it's causing all sorts of issues in our environment. We just want to avoid that too.
Black farmers, what's the status of Black farmers in the U.S.? How are you guys doing out there? I know you guys now have 2 farm areas and a marketplace that seemed to be booming, right? So what's going on with Black farmers in general?
In general, the recent statistics have shown a dire state with Black farmers. The whole farming field in general is dying. They said like the average age of farmers in general are in their 50s. But a recent statistic I saw said out of all the farmers in America, only 7% are Black farmers. And that begs the question, like, who is taking care of our people, our community? Who's making sure our community is eating well? And it just goes to show that we really need to support our Black farmers, because without the support of the Black farmers to be able to continue their business, to be able to be financially viable, that in turn will affect the quality of produce that's in our community. So we started up an apprenticeship program, and the goal of our apprenticeship program is really to create the new generation of farmers. We're teaching people everything we know, because we know this fight against food insecurity in underserved communities cannot be done by us alone. Mm-hmm. And so we just want to share our knowledge, let people know about how they can get into farming. And we just really are trying to just share the wealth and the knowledge, and just be able to make sure our generations can thrive.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to learn about farming, you have a program that we will teach you how to farm.
Yes.
We'll teach you. I'm going to sign up. And I love too that you guys have your own land. You own your own dirt.
Yeah.
So that's magnificent, and you guys have been doing that for a long time as far as farming.
Yes.
And there's a whole family affair. It's a whole family affair that actually does that. So thank you so much for being with us today on Naturally Brown Woman and just sharing your knowledge. Guys, support your local farmers. Go to our website, naturallybrownwoman.com. We're going to have a list on there for you of some Black farmers in your area, and so you can get as much information that you possibly can, so you can support our Black farmers in all of their efforts. So thank you for joining us, and always remember to be kind to yourself and be kind to others.